Iron dominance, America's tank power in 2026. There are sounds that make history. The crack of a rifle, the roar of a fighter jet, and then there is the unmistakable thunder of an American battle tank. Long before you see it, you feel it. The earth begins to shake beneath your feet. Dust erupts into the air. Trees vibrate. The noise grows louder and louder until 60 tons of armored steel burst over the horizon like an unstoppable force of nature. For the soldiers inside, it is more than a machine. For allies, it is reassurance. For enemies, it is a warning. Because when an American Abrams tank appears on the battlefield, history has shown that everything changes. For nearly half a century, the M1 Abrams has been the symbol of American armored supremacy. It has survived wars, outlasted rivals, and defeated armies that once believed they could challenge its dominance. But today, in 2026, the battlefield is changing faster than ever before. Cheap drones can destroy million-dollar vehicles. Artificial intelligence is becoming a weapon. Precision missiles can strike from miles away. Many military experts have begun asking the same question. Has the age of the battle tank finally come to an end? Or is America preparing something even more powerful? The answer begins more than 4 decades ago. The year was 1980. The Cold War was reaching one of its most dangerous moments. Across Europe, NATO planners feared that thousands of Soviet tanks could one day pour through the Fulda Gap in West Germany. If that happened, there would be only one thing standing between freedom and invasion. America needed a tank unlike anything the world had ever seen. Not just stronger, not just faster, but smarter, tougher, and deadlier than every armored vehicle on Earth. Engineers at the Joint Systems Manufacturing Center in Lima, Ohio, accepted that challenge. Their creation would become the M1 Abrams. Named after General Crichton Abrams, the legendary commander who believed speed, aggression, and overwhelming firepower won battles, the tank embodied those principles from the very beginning. Everything about it was revolutionary. Instead of using a traditional diesel engine, engineers installed the Honeywell AGT-1500 gas turbine engine. Producing an incredible 1,500 horsepower, it gave the Abrams astonishing acceleration for a 60-ton armored vehicle. Across open terrain, it could reach speeds exceeding 40 miles per hour while maintaining remarkable agility. Even after more than 40 years of service, this engine continues to prove itself. By 2026, it has accumulated more than 40 million operating miles across the fleet, and the U.S. Army continues investing millions of dollars to modernize its digital controls and extend its operational life. Mobility was only the beginning. The Abrams also carried one of the most feared tank guns ever built. Its 120mm smoothbore cannon could accurately destroy enemy armor from more than 3 kilometers away. Combined with laser rangefinders, thermal imaging systems, ballistic computers, and advanced stabilization, the crew could identify, track, and eliminate enemy targets before the opposing tank even realized it had been detected. Speed, accuracy, lethality. But perhaps its greatest advantage was something enemies could not easily see: its armor. Unlike conventional steel plating, the Abrams used a sophisticated composite structure combining steel, advanced ceramics, and depleted uranium. The result was extraordinary protection against both kinetic rounds and shape-charge weapons. Military analysts estimate that the frontal armor of the latest M1A2 SEPV3 offers protection equivalent to well over 900 millimeters of rolled, homogeneous armor. The exact specifications remain classified, and foes, a good reason. Because protecting the crew has always been America's highest priority. One brilliant engineering decision demonstrates this philosophy perfectly. Instead of storing ammunition beside the crew, as many older tanks did, the Abrams isolates its ammunition inside armored compartments equipped with blowout panels. If enemy fire ignites the ammunition, the explosive force is directed upward and away from the crew compartment. This innovation has saved countless American lives in combat. It transformed what could have been catastrophic losses into survivable incidents. Then came the moment that would cement the Abrams' reputation forever. Operation Desert Storm, January 1991. Coalition forces launched one of the largest armored offensives in modern military history. Waiting across the desert were hundreds of Iraqi tanks, many built on Soviet designs and expected to provide fierce resistance. Instead, they encountered something they had never imagined. American Abrams crews consistently detected Iraqi tanks long before they themselves were discovered. Using advanced thermal optics, U.S. tankers engaged targets through darkness, dust storms, and smoke with devastating precision. Entire enemy formations disappeared within minutes. One of the most famous engagements occurred near Medina Ridge. In just a few hours, American armored units destroyed more than 300 Iraqi armored vehicles while suffering remarkably few losses. Across the entire Gulf War, only 23 Abrams tanks were taken out of action. Even more astonishing, not a single crew member died because enemy rounds penetrated the tank's armor. The battlefield had spoken. The Abrams wasn't simply another tank. It had rewritten the rules of armored warfare. But victory in the desert was only the beginning. Throughout Iraq, Afghanistan, and numerous overseas deployments, the Abrams continued evolving. Every conflict revealed new threats. Every lesson produced new improvements: better electronics, stronger armor, improved communications, more advanced target-eating systems. Each generation became deadlier than the one before. By 2026, the primary operational version, the M1A2 SEPV3, shares its name with the original Abrams, but internally it is an entirely different machine. Modern digital displays replaced outdated analog systems. Advanced battlefield networking allows commanders to share information instantly. Enhanced armor protects against increasingly sophisticated threats. The common remotely operated weapon station enables crews to engage targets without exposing themselves to enemy fire. But perhaps the most revolutionary upgrade is something almost invisible: the Trophy Active Protection System. Instead of simply surviving incoming missiles, Trophy destroys them before they ever reach the tank. Powerful radar constantly scans the surrounding battlefield. The instant an anti-tank missile or rocket is detected, the system calculates its trajectory in fractions of a second. Then, before impact, Trophy launches a precisely timed countermeasure that destroys the incoming threat in mid-air. For the crew inside, the difference between life and death may last less than a second. This technology has already proven itself repeatedly in combat. Now it is becoming standard equipment on America's frontline armored forces. Yet despite decades of unmatched success, a new generation of threats was quietly emerging. Small drones, loitering munitions, artificial intelligence, electronic warfare. The battlefield was changing again. And the greatest challenge the Abrams had ever faced was about to arrive, not from another tank, but from the sky. In Part 2, we'll discover how the war in Ukraine exposed the future of armored warfare, why America cancelled its next Abrams upgrade, and how an entirely new generation of battle tank, the revolutionary M1E3, is being built to dominate the battlefields of tomorrow. For decades, military analysts predicted the death of the tank. They said precision missiles would make it obsolete. They said helicopters would replace it. They said anti-tank rockets had ended its reign. Every prediction failed. Yet in the early years of the war in Ukraine, something happened that forced every military commander on Earth to pay attention. It wasn't enemy tanks destroying modern armor. It wasn't massive artillery barrages. It was something much smaller. Commercial drones. Cheap first-person view attack drones. Loitering munitions. Weapons costing only hundreds, or a few $1,000s, were suddenly hunting armored vehicles worth millions. The battlefield had changed forever. When 31 American M1A1 Abrams tanks were delivered to Ukraine, the entire world watched closely. These legendary machines had dominated battlefields for decades. Now they faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Instead of confronting tanks head-on, swarms of drones searched for weak points from above. Operators sitting miles away guided explosive drones directly onto engine decks, turret roofs, and vulnerable rear sections. The battlefield had become three-dimensional. Threats no longer came only from the front. They could arrive from any direction. Every nation studied the results. Every military planner took notes. The lesson wasn't that the Abrams had failed. The lesson was much bigger. No tank, regardless of how advanced, is designed to fight alone anymore. Modern armor must operate as part of an integrated battlefield network. Electronic warfare, air defense, counter-drone systems, reconnaissance drones, infantry support, artillery. Every element must work together. Without that protection, even the world's most advanced tank becomes vulnerable. Fortunately for the United States Army, these lessons were already shaping the future. Long before the first Abrams arrived in Ukraine, Army planners had realized something important. The Abrams had become too heavy. Every modernization program added new armor, new electronics, new defensive systems, new communications equipment, each improvement increased weight. Eventually, the tank approached nearly 80 tons. That created serious problems. Many bridges around the world could no longer support it. Soft terrain became increasingly difficult to cross. Strategic transport became more complicated. Moving large armored formations across continents required enormous logistical effort. The Army faced a difficult choice: continue adding upgrades to an aging platform, or start over. In 2023, that decision shocked the defense world. The Army officially cancelled the planned SEPv4 modernization program. Instead of squeezing more equipment onto an already overloaded design, leaders chose something far more ambitious: a completely new Abrams. Its name is the M1E3, and it represents the biggest transformation in American armored warfare since the original Abrams first rolled out of Lima, Ohio. Unlike previous upgrades, the M1E3 isn't simply an improved version of the old tank. It is being engineered from the ground up around the realities of modern warfare. The first priority is weight. Engineers aim to reduce the vehicle from nearly 80 tons to approximately 60. That 20-ton reduction changes everything. Lighter vehicles move faster, cross more bridges, consume less fuel, deploy more easily by air and sea. Most importantly, they become far more flexible during combat operations. But reducing weight doesn't mean sacrificing protection. Quite the opposite. Instead of relying solely on thick armor, the M1E3 combines advanced materials with intelligent defensive technology. Its active protection systems are no longer optional upgrades. They are integrated into the tank's very architecture. Sensors constantly scan the battlefield. Artificial intelligence processes incoming threats almost instantly. Countermeasures respond automatically. The tank becomes more than armored steel. It becomes an intelligent combat system. Another revolutionary feature lies beneath its armor. For over 40 years, every Abrams has relied on the powerful AGT-500 gas turbine engine. The M1E3 introduces something entirely different: a hybrid electric propulsion system. This technology offers enormous advantages. Fuel consumption could be reduced by nearly 50%. That's a massive improvement for military logistics. Every gallon of fuel saved means fewer vulnerable supply convoys. Every convoy eliminated reduces risk to soldiers. The hybrid system also makes the tank quieter, far quieter. Thermal signatures decrease. Acoustic signatures shrink. Enemy sensors have a harder time detecting its position. Even more importantly, crews can operate communications, surveillance systems, and electronic equipment without keeping the massive engine running. Instead of announcing their location with constant engine noise, they can remain hidden while maintaining full battlefield awareness. Stealth becomes part of armored warfare. Then comes perhaps the boldest design change of all. The turret. Traditional tanks require 4 crew members: commander, gunner, driver, loader. The M1E3 replaces the human loader with an advanced auto-loading system. Crew size drops from 4 to 3. Fewer personnel are exposed to danger. The unmanned turret also allows engineers to build a much smaller profile. A lower silhouette means a smaller target. Smaller targets are harder to hit. Every design decision serves one purpose: survivability. The Army is also embracing open systems architecture. Instead of rebuilding the tank every time new technology appears, future upgrades can simply be integrated into the existing digital framework. New sensors, artificial intelligence, electronic warfare equipment, counter-drone technologies, software improvements. Everything becomes easier to install throughout the vehicle's service life. The tank evolves continuously, instead of waiting decades for major redesigns. This is exactly how smartphones receive updates. America wants its next generation tanks to evolve the same way. Development is already moving rapidly. General Dynamics Land Systems delivered the first M1E3 prototype to the Army in late 2025. During 2026, multiple prototypes are scheduled for operational testing with frontline soldiers. No laboratory can truly simulate combat. Only real crews operating under realistic battlefield conditions can reveal what works and what doesn't. Every mile driven, every obstacle crossed, every simulated engagement, every mechanical failure, every success. All of it will shape the final production model. Yet America's armored strength extends beyond engineering. Behind every Abrams stands something few nations possess: industrial power. The Joint Systems Manufacturing Center in Lima, Ohio, remains America's only facility capable of producing and modernizing Abrams tanks. It represents far more than a factory. It is a strategic national asset. Highly skilled workers, advanced manufacturing, decades of experience, precision engineering. These capabilities cannot be created overnight. Congress has repeatedly protected the facility because military leaders understand one simple truth: in a major war, industrial capacity wins battles. An army can only fight as long as its factories continue producing. The M1E3 program reflects that philosophy perfectly. Instead of relying on one contractor, the Army has assembled an industrial team involving more than 10 companies: automotive experts, defense manufacturers, technology firms, artificial intelligence specialists, transmission engineers, armor developers. Together they are building the most advanced American battle tank ever conceived. Critics will continue declaring that tanks are obsolete. History suggests otherwise. After the Yom Kippur War, they predicted the end. After Lebanon in 2006, they predicted the end again. After Ukraine, the predictions returned, Ned once more. But history has a remarkable pattern. The tank doesn't disappear. It adapts. Every generation becomes smarter, faster, more connected, more survivable. The M1E3 is proof that American armored warfare isn't standing still. It is evolving faster than ever before. The thunder that first echoed across the deserts of Desert Storm still rolls across the battlefield today. Only now it is joined by artificial intelligence, active protection, hybrid electric power, digital networking, and technologies that seemed impossible only a decade ago. The battlefield of tomorrow will belong not to the strongest machine, but to the smartest one. And if history has taught the world anything, it is this: whenever warfare changes, America changes with it. The Abrams is no longer simply a tank. It is a symbol of American innovation, industrial strength, and battlefield dominance. From the factories of Ohio to the front lines of the future, one truth remains unchanged. Steel can be forged. Technology can evolve. Enemies will always adapt. But as long as the United States continues to innovate, the thunder of American armor will never truly fade. It will simply grow louder. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the next generation is already rolling toward history.